Ladies and gentlemen, let me have your attention real quick, and then I'm going to introduce our guest. And I want to thank you for coming and doing what he's doing. The whole Romney family. My name is Bryce Reeves. I'm your state senator here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are up in Virginia as of today. But we've got to do some work. We've got a lot of work to go and a lot of days till November 6th. The energy that you guys have in this crowd today is enough to carry us over the finish line. It's vitally important. We have 8,000 yard signs in there that do us no good inside headquarters, so we need to get them out. Central Virginia is going to be key to victory this year. It was key to victory for me last year, and it changed the General Assembly for the second time since Reconstruction. We have to take back our country day one, right now. It starts today. Let me just impress one more thing on you.
We're going to do it.
Absolutely. We've already started to vote here in Virginia. Okay? You need to get your neighbors, the folks you worship with, everybody that you work with, out to vote. Get a Romney Ryan sticker on their car. Get a yard sign. Let's get motivated. Let's make those phone calls. Let's knock their doors. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct privilege to introduce number 3 out of 5. Josh has been married, his beautiful wife Jen. They have 5 children. And he's been crisscrossing across the country, as you guys well know. I think his brothers kind of rib him as the, trying to remember what I read on there, is the one that looks like Ashton Kutcher, I think. So we're really thankful to have you here today, Josh. And on behalf of Central Virginia, the Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania, Stafford, King George, Orange, thank you and welcome.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank Senator Reeves for the introduction. It's a lot of fun to be on the campaign trail. My brothers and I get to travel all over the country, meet wonderful people, and see great things. So we actually always kind of have a competition about who gets to go to the best states and do the most fun. So I'm actually, that's as loud as I get, man. When you do this all day, you only have a voice that's so loud. But I feel like I got lucky to come to Virginia today. The weather is beautiful. This is a beautiful place, beautiful people. But it was a few months ago. I was in Fairbanks, Alaska. It was January. It was dark, and it was negative 40 degrees. And, I got a text from my brother who was in Guam. That day I was not so lucky. So I'm not sure I'm the favorite son anymore, but you did get the third son, and I love being on the campaign trail, and I love talking to people and telling them why my dad's running for president, why he'd be crazy enough to do something like this. And as I go back, we are people who really know, my brothers and I know what it's like to run for president because we did it in 2008. We know how hard it is. And so when we started talking about it again a few years after my dad dropped out in 2008, we were very apprehensive about getting back in. In fact, 4 of the brothers were not real excited about it, including me, because we knew President Obama was going to have $1 billion this go around, or close to $1 billion to spend in a negative ad campaign on one person. And you knew he wasn't going to talk about his record, or his accomplishments, or his vision for the country. He was going to tear down the opponent. So knowing that, we were not real excited about getting my dad to jump back in the race. We like our last name, and we weren't sure we wanted to see it drag through the mud. But my mom asked my dad one question, and that is the economy. We were only about 12 or 13 trillion dollars in debt at this point. We're now 16. But she said, well, Mitt, can you turn this around? Can you turn the economy around? And he said, I can. And she said, well, then you don't have a choice about running. You have to run. And the rest of us realized this is not about us or about our family, but about this country, and making sure that we have the same hopes and dreams, the same future in this country that each of us inherited, that the future generations, kids like this, don't have to inherit 16, 20, who knows, if President Obama's reelected, we'll probably be close to $20 trillion in debt. And you think about the legacy we were left. Do we have any veterans here? Are there any veterans? Oh, yeah. Thank you. If you think about our veterans and what they've sacrificed for this country and what they've done for this country, in particular you think about World War II veterans who sacrificed, that whole generation, and what they sacrificed to allow us to have what we have right now. And they're often referred to as the greatest generation. Well, my dad started thinking about what our generation would be known as. What is our generation going to be known as for the next generation? And you think about what it could be known as if we re-elect President Obama. We'll have trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. We'll have Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid that are unfunded. We'll have all these things and a different America than we have today. And he thinks about, between my 5 kids and my brothers, there are 18 grandkids now that my dad has. So he thinks about those 18 grandkids. This is why he's in the race, is the next generation. We are borrowing right now on their backs to live, to do what we're doing now. And my dad thinks it's not only an economic problem, it's a moral problem. It's not fair to be doing that. It's not fair. And so he wants to, day one, get us back on track. Make sure that the future generations know what America is. I love seeing immigrants that come to this country who haven't been used to it their entire lives, who don't take our principles and our freedoms for granted, who see what America really is. And when you meet these people who just recently come to America, I met someone this morning who had just gotten here, and these are people who really do understand American values, understand what makes us great. My dad understands what makes us great. He can look back at the founders and what they did, the vision they had for this country. This is over 200 years ago. They had this idea that if you allowed people to pursue their own interests, their own dreams, that would lead to prosperity and success for everybody. Not just those people, but for everyone. Would lift the entire nation. And if you look at what happened over the next couple hundred years, this country has been more successful than any nation that has ever been on this planet. That is something special. My dad recognizes what makes us great, that vision they had, that hope, that optimism, that trust they gave in the American people, that when they did their own thing and pursued their own dreams, that they would succeed and bring all people up. That is what makes us a great nation. My dad understands that. He gets that. He wants to make sure that continues to happen, that people are allowed to pursue their dreams, that government gets out of the way and lets people do what they know how to do. President Obama, for some reason, doesn't get that. He doesn't understand it. He thinks we have to reinvent America. He thinks we have to look for inspiration from other places. He's looking to Europe for inspiration. You think of all places. 4 years ago, maybe it made a little sense. But today, we know where that leads. You can see where that leads. You can look to Spain and Greece and Italy. We know where this leads. And I don't understand. I cannot understand what makes President Obama think that we need to change America, change the principles that made us great. We know the formula that works. We know what makes this country successful. All we have to do is stick to that, and we will remain the greatest nation on earth. These are the reasons my dad is running. He understands what makes this country great. I will tell you, one of the things that has the most meaning to me as I travel all around the country is I have a lot of people that come up to me and tell me that they're praying for my dad and my mom, and not just for them, but for this country. And you think about how many conservatives out there are praying for this country, and that has a lot of power. That has a lot of power. And I will tell you, 4 years ago, you probably saw a lot of energy at the Obama events. You maybe remember watching how much enthusiasm they had and what he stood for. He didn't have a record at this point, so he could kind of say whatever he wanted, and people believed it. Well, now he's got a record. He's still saying whatever he wants, but he's got a record. And so we can hold him to it, and the energy at his rallies is gone. The good news is, we've picked it up. There are so many people around this country who care so much about the freedoms and the rights that we have, and want to preserve those rights, want to make sure that government stays out of our way, that we are getting people that come out and support us, and are praying for us, and volunteering for us, donating, doing all this work for us. And it has, I just tell you, it's so meaningful to us to know there's so many people who care so much about their country. And we're joining you and doing everything we can to make sure that we re-elect my dad. I will tell you, a group like this here in Virginia, you guys have tremendous power. I don't know if you realize how much power you have to change this election. But all of you going out, talking to your friends and your family and people you go to church with and your neighbors, you guys can influence the election. This is going to be a tight election here in Virginia, but we are going to win it. And it's going to be a lot easier if you guys go out and talk to your neighbors and talk to everybody you know. Help them understand how important this election is. See, I'm convinced that you can convince anybody when you give them the facts and you tell them and you lay it out. And you lay out my dad's vision versus President Obama's. There is a choice right now, a clear choice. Do we want greater government control in our lives, greater government telling us what we can do and how we can do it, or do we trust people to make decisions for themselves? And if you really, I mean, it's such a clear choice. And if you can spend a couple minutes with someone and explain it to them, there's nobody that's not going to vote for my dad. So we've got to get you guys to get out and work for him. We feel very good about the directions things are headed. I mean, I would tell you, in terms of being able to convince people, you saw that a couple nights ago at the debate. I loved watching the media say, well, it's interesting. I think the problem with President Obama, no one's challenged him for the last 4 years. I kind of want to say, well, what have you guys been doing? Aren't you the media?
Look what happens when he doesn't have a prompter.
Yeah, so, but you look at my dad, who understands conservative principles, is able to articulate them and lay them out and lay out his plan. I think it really took President Obama by surprise, and so it was a lot of fun to see my dad really stand up for conservative principles. I think anyone who really watched that debate and paid attention to what was happening will be voting for my dad. We are going to win Virginia. We are going to win the presidency next November. My dad will be the next president, and with your continued prayers and your volunteering and voting. We want you guys to get out and vote as early as possible and do it and get as many people to do that as possible. We're going to win this, and we're going to have a great party in January at the inauguration. I want to invite all of you personally to the inaugural ball. If anyone has it on tape, you can just bring that tape. Just tell them I personally invited you. We'll get you all in. But no, this is going to be a lot of fun. We are going to get this country back. This country will remain the shining city on a hill. This country stands for something. It's the greatest country that's ever existed on this planet, and my dad will make sure it remains so. Thank you all so much.